Hello, everyone. Hello, 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 hello. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you all for joining today. Wherever you are, as you're joining, please share. As you're joining, please share the video so that other people can join. Okay, the reason why I decided to go live here is so that people who could not join us can easily go to the videos on this page and access it. And one thing is I post a lot on my personal page, so I do not want the video to get lost on the timeline. So when you join this video, do share. If you can hear me in the comment section, let me know that you can hear me. If you can hear me in the comment section, let me know that you can hear me. Okay, so tag people, yeah, tag people. Let's commence. So hi Chinwe, the first person to join us today again. Well done. So today I want to take it back to the basics. Most times when we talk about sex education, parents get this notion that we are trying to corrupt their child. They tend to think that you're trying to take away a child's innocence. But the truth remains that sex education does not corrupt a child. On the contrary, it arms a child with the right information to keep themselves safe. So when you do not sex educate a child, or when you do not teach a child body safety, you are not leaving that child innocent. You are leaving that child ignorant. And an ignorant child can easily be deceived by an abuser. An ignorant child can easily be led astray. They can be filled with the wrong information, and they will not even bother to come to you because you've not made them understand that this is wrong, this is right, this is what is obtainable, this is what is not right. Okay? So today, we're going to discuss the number one rule of body safety. The number one rule of body safety, which is naming body parts correctly. Now, before we talk about naming body parts correctly, we want to ask, when should we start sex education? So many times I get this message in my inbox, in my comment section. Parents are asking, if you can hear me, please let me know in the comment section if you can hear me. Parents are always asking, when should I start sex education? Is my child too young for sex education? But the answer is this. Sex education should start at 1 year and 6 months, before a child is 2 years. Because another thing is that every child is unique, right? So if you know that your child is a fast learner, if your child has already started identifying their heads, their eyes, their nose, their mouth, if your child is a fast learner, the same time you're teaching them, this is your head, this is your eyes, you should start immediately and start pointing out their private body parts. Yes, it makes the job easy. Just start from the moment you're identifying their other parts of their body. You should include their private parts. Okay, this is your head, this is your penis, this is your eyes, this is your vagina, this is your breast, this is your nose. It goes easy peasy. Okay, so sex education should start from as early as 2 years. If your child is a fast learner, if your child is fast, you start sex education at 1 year and 6 months. That is 18 months. So here's the thing. When we talk about naming body parts correctly, what do I mean? Okay, growing up, a lot of us had different names we call our private parts. These days, we hear pee-pee, we hear bum-bum, we have wee-wee, we have pim-pim. So many things parents call their children's private parts instead of calling it by the right name. Why is that? I went for a program last year, and a parent walked up to me. She during the question and answer session, she asked, my child was its classmate was touching my child in school. She went to her teacher, or he went to his teacher, and told the teacher that teacher, someone is touching my pim-pim. And even while the woman was telling me this, I was like, sorry, excuse me, ma, what is pim-pim? She started laughing, and she said it meant penis. I'm like, okay, here, I'm a sex educator, I'm here. She didn't even say tanta. And I said, I'm a sex educator, and you're saying this PP and tanta. I don't know what you mean. How do you expect the teacher, your child's teacher, to know what that child means? And besides, you said this right now, and everybody in this hall is laughing. It sounds funny. It has become a thing of a joke This is a serious issue a child went to report. But because you've not armed that child with the right word, with the right information, you've not given that child the right word to report with, it has turned into a joke. And what would the teacher do in this case? Someone touched my pin, someone be like, go and sit down. Because the teacher does not understand really what's really happened. Now, assuming the same scenario, this boy walks up and said, teacher, this boy touched my penis. Of course, the teacher will not brush it off because, number one, the teacher knows that this child is aware of what they are talking about. They know exactly where they have been touched. Do you understand? That is the importance of teaching a child their body parts correctly. Now, another thing sex education does for children is this. It helps them understand things they've gone through in the past. Sex education helps children. Like, I went to a school last year, and one of the students, after the whole teaching, during one-on-one counseling, she came to me crying. Why? I was like, what's the problem? It took me almost 5 minutes to calm this girl down so that she could tell me what her problem was. So she said, and she's in JS too, she said that while she was growing up, when she was around 7, that a neighbor abused her. And then now that I was talking about it, and every time she goes to church and they talk about sex or young children engaging in sex, that she starts feeling bad and she starts feeling like she has done something wrong, that she's been begging God to forgive her. That I'm like, how old was the person that did this to you? She said that the person was in secondary school, that the girl that did it to her was in secondary school then. We're talking about a girl. And I was not trying to explain to her, telling her that you were abused. You did not do anything wrong. I asked if she had told anybody. She said no, she did not tell her parents. I said why? She said that she did not even know at the point that what that girl did was wrong, or that she was supposed to tell her parents, that the girl told her not to report. So when you've not started this body safety conversation with your children, you do not give them the right words to report abuse. You do not arm them with the right words to report abuse. So number one rule of body safety is name body parts correctly. As you're naming the public parts of their body, you're naming the private parts of their body. It's vagina, penis, buttocks, breast. No slang words. No slang words. Because number one, when you use slang words, you're making these children see these parts of their body as something secret, something bad, something they have to hide, something they have to shroud in secrecy, something they should not name, something that should be whispered. You are the one introducing the secrecy around private parts. You are the one you're creating an avenue, you're creating a very safe space for an abuser to take advantage of that secrecy you've created. Remember, secrecy is the highest tool an abuser uses to keep a child quiet. Childhood sexual abuse does not always happen once. It can go on for years. One person can abuse a child for years. So as a parent, you need to name body parts correctly. You need to name private body parts correctly. It removes the secrecy around these words. Most times when you go to school and you mention sex, or you mention breast or penis, you see the children, they start doing because we've shrouded these words with so much secrecy. Hello, Uche, good afternoon. We've shrouded it with so much secrecy that even our children now see it as something secret, something that should be discussed in private, something that should be murmured about. Okay? So it is important that as parents, we remove that secrecy by name the words. Name the words. Name body parts correctly. Number 2 is that making the names up gives the impression that it is bad. Now listen, one of the ways as a parent that you can find out if your child is being abused or if your child has been exposed to sexual content, it is by their language, their choice of words. When you hear, if as a parent in my house, everybody names their private parts correctly. If you're a boy, you're naming your private part penis. So when I hear my son or my daughter refer to their private parts in a language or a word I did not teach them. When I hear my child talk about their private parts, maybe start addressing their private part as maybe lollipop, or starts addressing their private parts as carrot, I would call that child. It is a red flag for me. I'd call my child and start asking questions. Who taught you this? Who told you you can talk about your private parts like this, or you can call your private part this and that? So in situations like this, it is important that you name body parts correctly, so that whenever your children learn something else outside, they will come to you. I remember when we talk about abuse of children, it is not just adults that abuse children. No. Children abuse children too. Once a child has been exposed to sexual abuse, there is a possibility Okay, you're saying my voice is not loud? Okay. I said once a child has been abused, there is a possibility that child is going to abuse another child. Yes, abused children abuse others. We got a story recently here in Onitsha of a woman who that video I could not watch it. She manhandled this little girl because she's, according to the story, that the little girl abused her child. This is the point that this is also important. I state that parents are aware, or guidance, that once a child has been abused, there is a possibility that that child is going to practice what they've learned on another child. This is why it is important for you as a parent to arm your child with the right information so that they would know when to report to you. You're saying, hey, don't let anybody, an adult do this. But sometimes it is children like them. Sometimes it is their friends at school. Sometimes it is their older siblings that abuse them. So it is important that as a parent that you remove the secrecy surrounding the human body. Remove the secrecy surrounding the private parts of the body. Number one way you can do this is by naming the private parts by their correct names. Name private body parts correctly. Then another thing is this: making up names give them the impression that it's bad and that is a secret. And most times, I have a case where an uncle abused a girl under her parents' roof for 5 years. He abused this girl for 5 years under her parents' roof. She could not speak up. She could not speak up until she was brought to our one of the programs I did 2 years ago. It was after that program that that girl got, as in, that was when she understood that what her uncle was doing to her was really, really bad and that it can affect her in future. That was when she knew that he was committing a crime against her and that she needed to speak up. So you see how arming children with the right words gives them the strength, gives them the words, gives them the courage to speak up. It has opened that line of conversation for her to know to report. It was after that program that night she went home and she called her mom and she said, look at what uncle has been doing to me. Look at when it started. Look at, the mother she went ballistic. She had to start calling me. So it is important that as parents, we start sex education and start it the right way. So if you have a child who is 2 years old, it means that by now you should start what? You should start teaching them the correct names of their private parts. This is your head, this is your breast, this is your buttocks, this is your vagina, this is your penis. Please, no more use of slangs. Another thing using of slangs or code words for private part does is that it makes it a plaything. It makes their private part a plaything. Once children get to the age of 3, they become inquisitive about their environment and their body. So the boys begin to notice that the girls are different from them. The boy child begins to notice that the girl child is different from the girl. Begins to, notice that when little children are maybe they are peeing together, or you see them, they're trying to see, hey, look, see, hey, my sister, or even their younger ones. When you have a new baby, you see your older child is coming to the point and say, my sister has this or my brother has this, they're becoming what? Inquisitive and aware of their environment. So when you do not name their private parts correctly, and you start calling it pee-pee, wee-wee, bum-bum, wee, all those things, you see those children, they make this thing, they become something they can have fun with, something they can play with. They go to school and they are pointing and touching other people's private parts because you have not started that conversation. You've not explained to them that this is a private part, that this part of their body belongs only to them and must not be seen or touched by others. So as you're explaining their private parts, because I know a lot of times we talk about private parts, some parents do not even know the private parts, and they know how will you be able to teach what you do not understand. Now, for a girl, her private parts are the mouth. Yes. Anytime we say this, you say private parts, and people are shocked that your mouth is a private part. There was once, some years back, there was this video of a little girl that was giving a man oral sex. This man put his penis in her mouth. If someone had explained to her that a man's penis is his private part, and that your mouth is your private part too, and that you should not allow anybody to touch or see your private part, or that you should not touch or see any other person's private part, that girl would have known that what this uncle, and he was actually filming it. She would have known that what this uncle is doing is wrong. I should not be seeing his private parts and I should not be touching it. Not to talk of, letting him put it in my mouth. When you see people who kiss little children on the mouth, because sometimes this thing starts from different places. So tell your kids that their mouth, their lips is their private part. They should not allow anybody to kiss them on the lips. It is their private part. Their buttocks is their private part. Their thighs, between their legs. We say sometimes the areas covered by swimsuits, but these days people wear bikini. But when you want to explain it to your children, tell them that it is a part of the body covered by the swimsuit. You notice that a swimsuit is usually a full body length. Sometimes it comes down to the thigh. A swimsuit comes down to the thigh. You tell them that even their thighs, the inner thigh especially, is a private part and should not be played with. They should not allow anybody to see or touch it. Okay? Then another thing that is very important to teach your older kids, because once your child is 2, you start. As they get older, you continue to add to the information you've been giving them. Listen, sex education is not a one-time thing. It is not something you teach once and you say, I've sex educated my child, thank God. I've sex educated my child, no need again. No, it is a continuous process. That is why I'm taking it stage by stage, step by step. What you teach a teenager is not what you teach a little girl. What you teach a girl of 5 is not what you teach a girl of 9. What you teach a boy of 5 is not what you teach a boy of 10. You see, sex education is continuous. As their bodies are changes, as they are getting older, age-appropriate sex education changes. Okay? So what you're doing just like going to school from nursery to primary, they're adding to what they learn. You start from the basics. So as they're growing older, you're adding to the things you're teaching them. Another thing about touch, I like to differentiate different touches children experience as good and bad. If you can hear me, let me know in the comment section. If you have a question as I'm teaching, drop it in the comment section. If you are following what I'm teaching, drop the fire emoji in the comment section. Okay, I want to know that you're following, and please share. A lot of people are waiting for me to go live on my private page, but I decided to do it here so that it will be easy for people who do not join to find it in the video column of this page. Okay, so another thing that is important to teach your children when talking about private parts and public parts of their body is safe touch and unsafe touch. Yes, sex education is not a one-time thing. Safe touch and unsafe touch. Do you know that there is a way someone will touch a child's hand, and at that point, their hands become their private part? Yes, when someone is caressing a child's hand, or their arm, or their shoulder, or their armpit, or trying to tickle them, there are certain touches that a child would receive, even though it is on the public part of their body. That touch becomes an unsafe touch. That touch becomes an unsafe touch. How do you help your child identify a touch that is safe and unsafe? Now, every human being has this intuition. We have this inborn, our body has this way of reacting when it is uncomfortable, when something is not right. You tell your child that when someone is touching you and suddenly your heart is beating fast. Your heart is beating fast. You feel like there's something off about this touch. You should what? Even if the person is touching your hand, tell the person to leave you alone. Why? Because the body belongs to them. The next live session I'm going to explain these private parts are private. That's the next one we'll discuss. Or we're going to discuss my body belongs to me. Because helping children understand the ownership of their body helps them speak from a place of authority. It helps them know that it is their body, it is their right, that they can tell someone, don't touch me, and that the person should respect their wish. Okay? So when a child feels uncomfortable with any kind of touch, even if it is on the public parts of their body, because sometimes this is what the abusers do. They do not come instantly and start molesting a child or raping a child. It is a gradual process. It is called grooming. It is a gradual process. It is called grooming. An abuser grooms a child. They make the child trust them. Even you, the parent, the abuser grooms you as a parent. They make you feel so comfortable. They're always offering to, help you with the kids. They're always, I like children, I want to be with children. I'm not saying anybody that likes to spend time with children is an abuser. But when an adult or an older child is always isolating a child, when someone is always, I want to go out, I want to take the children out, there's only one child you want to take out, come and follow me here. The person is in the room or somewhere private. They want to stay alone with a child. It is a red flag. A huge red flag. A huge red flag. So when an abuser is grooming a child, it starts with affection. It starts with paying attention to that child, special attention to that child. It starts with buying them gifts. It starts with little things to make you and your child comfortable with them. So at this point, you as a parent, you might even be going out and you say, please take care of my child for me. I'm going out, please take care of this child for me. Amanda, follow them. Stay with this uncle, stay with this auntie. And remember, it is not only men that abuse children. It is not only males that abuse children. Women abuse children too. Females, girls, boys. An abuser can be anyone. It can be a man or a woman. It can be a girl. It can be a boy. It can be an older child. It can be anybody. It can be a grandparent. It can be anybody. So please trust no one. Don't say because it's an old man, you cannot do anything to my child, or my child is safe with them. We've had so many news of people in their 70s, 80s, 60s abusing little children. And don't say that my sons are safe. Nobody's going to abuse my son. My son is safe. Listen, 1 in 8 boys are abused before the age of 18. 1 in 4 girls will be abused before they turn 18. These days, we know what's happening in the world where we are today. Young boys are abused too. So please, when you're sex educating, do not leave your sons out of it. Do not leave your sons out of this discussion, okay? So when someone is trying to isolate your child, when someone is always paying unnecessary attention to your child, know that it is a red flag. And tell your child that whenever somebody gives them a touch, even if it's on their public part, even if it's on their legs, their hands, their back, and they feel uncomfortable with that touch, or that person is hiding that touch they are giving them, they should watch, they should say no, they should speak up and tell the person to leave them alone. You can explain this thing to them by, you can use this illustration I love to use in primary schools. I tell them that, assuming the bell goes off for dismissal and you see someone leaving the school gate with your school bag, how would you react? You see the children, they'll tell you, if I catch that person, I'll beat the person, my bag, hey. Or you tell them, what if your Christmas clothes, the clothes mommy bought this Christmas, if you see someone wearing your clothes, what will you do? They will tell you, I'll slap the person, I'll do this, I'll do that. And I'll tell them that your body is more precious than your school bag or your clothes. So the same energy, you should even use a stronger energy to say no to anyone who wants to touch you in a way you're not comfortable with. If anyone tries to touch your private part, it means that person is trying to desecrate your body. So even if it's a child like you, even if it's an adult, the same way you will run and fight anybody that takes your school bag or takes your Xmas clothes, that is the same way you should what? You should fight this person. So you should shout. We are going to talk about how to react in the face of abuse. So basically, we've talked about why parents should teach their children the right names of their private parts. Why it is very, very important. Number 1, to remove the secrecy around private parts, to remove the secrecy around sex education. Some parents, I've had my friend that would always come and tell me that they started sex educating their son at a very early age. So these days, he's not ashamed to name his private parts, no matter where he is, no matter what's going on, he will name it correctly. So sometimes it can be embarrassing for you as a parent, but please, you are better safe than sorry. You are better what? Safe than sorry. And this same thing goes out to schools too. In class, in school, you should put measures in place to ensure our children are safe in school.